welcome to another exciting episode of the Fantastic Fathers Television Network. We are here as always at the beautiful MediaWorks Studios right in Windsor on Walker Road. If you haven't been here or seen this location, please check them out. They can do any type of podcast or studio time that you're looking for. It's an amazing facility with an amazing crew, so I highly recommend you check this place out for any of your studio needs. We hope that everyone is doing well and staying safe. We very much miss putting on our family fun events. Was pretty much our whole thing, but obviously with COVID, we have to stay safe. But we cannot wait to get back to doing that as soon as the time is right to do so. We're moving things online. We had a fun little Bingo with Dad event a couple weeks ago that went really well. We're going to do another one of those real soon for a chance to win a $50 gift card to Toys R Us for some lucky kid. So please follow us on our open Facebook page. It's Fantastic Fathers, or on Instagram, Fantastic Fathers Windsor. And you can keep up to date with everything that we post on there and our events that we plan on doing coming up. Today, we're here to introduce you to our Fantastic Father of the Month Award winner for May 2020. Anyone can be nominated for this award. If you have a fantastic father in your life, all you have to do is just send us in a written nomination and give us the who and why you feel they deserve to be recognized. Basically, you can send that through our Facebook page or through our email, which is info@fantasticfathers.ca. Our winners lately have all been actually essential service employees. We wanted to highlight and recognize those employees, obviously, in this difficult time. And of course, we want to thank all essential service employees for your courage and bravery pre and post pandemic. We thank you very much and wish all the best to you guys and your families. Lastly, of course, we want to thank our annual sponsors. Without them, we could not do anything. So they're actually shown at the beginning of this video and at the end. If you could take a look at them and see who they are, these are the people who give back to our community and they care so much and obviously very generous. And again, we couldn't do anything without them. So if you need anything from a product or service that they offer, please contact them first. Give them a chance for your business. We would really appreciate that. And that will allow us to continue doing what we do. So thank you very much. If anyone out there would like to be a sponsor of the Fantastic Fathers Community Group, you can get in touch with us. We have a lot of different options that we can discuss with you. And when we feel that they're mutually beneficial and of value to you. So we'd love to hear from you if you have any interest in sponsoring us. Today, again, as I mentioned, we're here to announce the Fantastic Father of the Month Award winner. We have an incredible father who was nominated that we selected. This is going to be a tough one. I'm not going to lie. This is going to be an emotional interview. This dad is full of courage, strength, bravery, dedication, every adjective in the book that you can have for this father. We are thrilled and honored to present this award to Iain Macri. You may recognize his name from the Fight Like Mason Foundation, the incredible foundation there that's just done so many amazing things over the last few years. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about fatherhood. And again, this is going to be an emotional one. So tune in. Look forward to talking with Iain shortly when we get back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Iain, for being here so much. How you doing today?
Great, man.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Obviously, it's going to be a difficult interview today. I'm so happy that you're here.
No problem.
What you've been through, truly unreal, but in the end, inspiring. So many other adjectives. God, I don't even know where to begin, to be honest, but can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Sure.
And just maybe give us a little description of your job, because again, this is the Essential Service Father of the Month Award.
Awesome. Okay, no problem. My name is Iain Macri, and I'm what's called a pathologist assistant. I work at the hospital here in Windsor. I met, and I've been doing that for about just over 10 years now. Got hired right out of university, right after I graduated. Nice. And my job is not for the faint of heart and not for the weak stomach. I'll lead with that.
I was going to say, I have no idea what a pathologist assistant is. So
yeah, so
elaborate on that.
essentially you're an eyes in the hands of the pathologist. And a pathologist is someone who diagnoses all disease, right? They look under the microscope and they look at the cells of tissue samples that were taken from a patient and they diagnose it. So whether that's anything from just acid reflux to small colonoscopy samples to all the way to getting organs removed for cancer diagnosis. So they're the ones who are in charge of almost every diagnosis of a patient.
Wow.
So my job from that is to take whatever's sent to the lab, when they send stuff to the lab to get analyzed, not blood samples, but tissue samples, and I process those. So my job is to look at what's in front of me, describe it, and I take a scalpel and I dissect each organ and tissue sample to find all the pathology, all the diseased area, and differentiate that between healthy tissue and diseased tissue. Take little samples, and I select what the pathologist then is going to look at under the microscope and diagnose it. So my job is to describe, cut, and then select what's the best representation of that disease.
So that's pretty essential.
Slightly.
Stay in school, ladies and gentlemen.
Slightly
Tell your kids,
slightly essential. Yeah. So
for sure. Well, good for you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
What's COVID been like for you at work? Has there been, like, to me, that sounds like that's a busy job.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID anyway.
Sure. Right. Normally we process, there's 5 of us in the community that actually service all of Windsor, Essex. So from here, including up to Leamington Hospital. So all the 3 main OR sites in Windsor, Essex, we service, and there's only 5 of us. So they shut down a lot of the ORs, obviously to prevent any of the spread of the virus and to eliminate the amount of people in the hospital and whatnot. But so all the essential parts, all the emergency surgeries still kind of operate. But other than that, we do autopsy on the other side of things as part of our job. So that obviously doesn't stop either during. So again, not the greatest kind of happy-go-lucky kind of career, but it's absolutely fascinating. And, I'm so glad I was able to find it.
No doubt. Well, we'll talk more about COVID later and all that, but we want to get down to the reason you're here today.
Sure.
You are obviously our May 2020 Father of the Month Award winner.
So grateful.
With your permission, can I read the nomination that was sent in for you? The anonymous nomination.
The anonymous nomination.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay, let me do that for
Let's
you.
see.
Okay, here we go. Hey all, hope you are doing well during these crazy times. I would like to nominate, this pretty much is going to blow who the nomination's from right here, but I got to read it. I would like to nominate my husband, Iain Macri, for Father of the Month. He is a PA at Met Hospital and is a part of the front line that most people hope they never have to see, and a frontline worker that most people do not think about. He has been living in a tent in my parents' garage for the past few weeks now to protect our kids, and will be there until things start to settle. He is always making sure everyone is taken care of and constantly making others laugh, especially with his superhero characters. It's not an easy task being away from us, as we have already lost a child due to disease, and being away from us is definitely taking a toll on him. It would be awesome to let him know just how fantastic he is and how much of a superhero he is to all of us, even outside his costume. It's emotional, eh?
Yeah, well,
we read these every month, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do, continuing your amazing work in the community, and we love the fact that you remind everyone how awesome dads are. So there's your nomination.
Wow. Thank you to my beautiful wife.
Chantel, hello to the lovely Chantel out there. Thank you for sending that in. Yeah, we get these every month, and like some of them are from the wives, some of them are from the grandparents, some of them from the kids, and it's just
amazing.
It's very hard to select. But obviously, it was a unanimous vote when we seen that come in. So,
honored.
Basically, why don't we start from the beginning then? Like, tell us, how did you and Chantel meet?
Jeez, we've known each other quite a bit. We met in 2007, actually, so over 13 years now. That we've been known each other. We actually, our bass player in our band quit, and we needed a bass player. And it's like most musicians that play like rock and metal or whatever, you don't just go find a bass player. Like doesn't happen like that. And back then you didn't have like
nobody cares.
Facebook
Nobody cares
ads
about the bass player.
Yeah, no, and there's so few and far between. Just like the bass player and the drummer. There's a million guitars, a million singers.
Hey, I'm a drummer.
Yeah, same here. So we needed a bass player, and my dad actually was like, my my coworker, Chantel's mom, who was a paramedic with my dad, he's like, oh, her daughter plays bass. And I'm like, like girl bass player. What do we like? No.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously a couple weeks went by and we're like, hey, we got no luck finding anybody. We still wanted to be a band. And so we're like, okay, fine. Like we'll try this girl out. Right. So I found her on Facebook back then. Facebook was in its infancy, and I found her on Facebook and I saw her display picture and I'm like, can it please be her? Like, can it be her? Can it please be her? Can this be the right person?
So that was like face stalking.
Yeah, I say, well, I got to touch base, and then she came. We said, okay, we'll try it. Can you come for a tryout, right? And she came in. She sat down. She brought her gear. I don't think she actually played a song. And at the end of it, we're like,
the looks were enough.
We're like, we're good. Okay, we're good here. Like, you want to start tomorrow, right?
Nice.
So yeah, and ever since then, she was in the band, and then we had our little like friendship with the band, and then
nice.
One thing led to another, and eventually, we started dating about just over a year later.
Yeah.
So, and we've been together ever since. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to. We only have certain time in the studio here, so we started at the beginning, but we're gonna fast forward and we'll move it along here. So again, eventually you welcomed your first child.
Yes.
So can you just describe Mason to us, please?
Oh my gosh. Everybody, whenever anyone asks that, the first response we usually say is that Mason was an old soul. He had this kind of aura about him that, he was wise beyond his years. Anybody who interacted with him, was like, man, how old is this kid? He was tall, he was really big, but he just spoke really well. His vocabulary developed really quickly, and he had this just very patient, but lovable, super positive kind of vibe to him at all the time. And we didn't have to discipline him. He was a wonderful, first addition to fatherhood, right? I'm sure there's all the other usuals of fatherhood, that stressors that come in down, but other than that, it was like, wow, you have a pretty awesome kid here. Awesome. As a first. Yeah, well,
I say the same thing about mine. If I could guarantee a replica of my daughter, I'd have 6 of her. So when did you notice that maybe something just wasn't quite right about his health?
Sure. Yeah, it was kind of about 5-6 months before he got diagnosed. He started having some belly issues. He was having trouble going to the bathroom, and he was he's about 2.5 when things kind of started. Now looking back, but the doctors always kind of said it was just boys, and they hold their boob, and they do, they're just stubborn, and they don't want to go all the time, and it was kind of normal, and it kind of got dismissed, and thought it was diet and this and that, and then ultimately when he wasn't able to pee anymore, that's when the red flag really hit hard, and we brought him into Emerge, and the ball started rolling with what we were going to be about to deal with.
So when you actually received his diagnosis, rhabdomyosarcoma.
Very good. Very impressive. Yeah, very good.
I worked on that a few times.
Very good.
What were your initial thoughts? Like that, obviously maybe you've heard of it before with your career. But what were your initial thoughts on that? And I guess what was the beginning steps of the plan, process. Like the battle plan?
Yeah. Obviously being in the medical community, and I know quite a bit about cancer. Cancer is my life, working in the hospital, but that's the last thing you expect to say, especially when childhood cancer. And most people assume that it's rare, it doesn't happen to anybody. And but obviously it was the hardest kick in that you've ever experienced, and trying to getting our bearings of how we're going to do this. My dad had cancer, and I had some experience dealing with the whole system of how it works. So I had a little bit of an idea, but going into this is a totally different ball game. And we just decided ultimately from the get-go, from the very, very beginning, after we found out what he had, was that we were not going to lie to him. And how does this just 3-year-old, his first chemo was on his 3rd birthday, how do we tell him what's wrong? His life's going to be substantially different from the time before till now, being in the hospital. So how do you tell him? So we told him, as any father tries to do, or any parent tried to do is try to make an analogy, try to
Yeah.
get him to understand it possibly. And that was to tell him that he had a bad guy inside of him, and he was going to need superpowers to become a superhero to fight off that bad guy, fight off that villain. And that's what we did. And I used all these analogies from, word on the street is I like superheroes a little bit. So I decided to compare all the things that he was experiencing in the hospital to a superhero-like thing.
Right.
So his chemo was his superpowers, his super soldier serum, like Captain America got to make him big and strong. He had the same thing, and the radiation that he was going to have to get, that was just like the Hulk. Hulk gets radiation, and he grows big and strong and smashes all the villains.
Man, that's just awesome, the way that came about. And
that's he has all cancer patients get a port, which is a medical device that inserts a tube into their vein that delivers the chemo everywhere easier, so instead of using their arm veins. And that was a metal piece that stuck out of his chest, and that was just like Iron Man shrapnel that got stuck in his chest. He has that arc reactor in his chest too. So all these things came into play, and that's kind of how he developed into the superhero we knew him to be.
It's amazing. Was there a support network or anything around here that you were able to go to for advice or find some comfort in, or did you have to seek that out? Or
there's a little bit of those in London, right? Most people don't, if they don't know, all cancer patients from Windsor, Essex, all London is the hub of where their treatment is done. There's no oncologist here in Windsor that treats kids. So it's all done throughout London, and then Windsor has a satellite service where you can go for small treatments. But yeah, there's a couple services there that they kind of offer, but for the most part, you're kind of really alone, in it. And you believe the rest of the world doesn't, know this is happening, and you feel like you're the only ones, aside from a couple families that you might meet in the hospital. But our support network came from Facebook, actually, from when Chantel started blogging. Actually, not even blogging; it was literally to update friends and family about what was going on instead of calling and texting everybody back and forth that everybody wants to know, which was great and which was humbling, but. Kind of started just as that, and then we had all these messages, and families reached out to say that their kid had the same thing and whatnot. So we kind of developed it just really through there.
The good use of social media.
Yeah, the positives. Yeah, for sure.
Again, I'm not even sure how to ask some of these questions. No, I was writing these, and I was just like, my eyes were watering writing some of these questions and that. But,
no, that's all right.
So feel free to pass on any of these or anything like that. But this is a dad thing here that we're here for. So like, as a dad, we tend to consider ourselves as that superhero. We're the 100%. Protector, of the family and all that. Obviously you can't protect against illness. So how hard was that to get past for you as a dad, just with that, that dad stereotype of being I'll take care of anything type
thing, that I still struggle with that. That was, if not one of the hardest parts internally for myself, right? Watching Mason go through what he did. And, any parent, even any moms as well, they look at a kid, and all your job is to protect that kid. And that's something that's completely out of your control. And how much you want to change, it might not happen, for the best. So, that was exactly was the hardest part. But my job became then doing everything I possibly could to support the three of us, as a whole. When Chantel maybe was having not so great day, I had to step in to be, to be there for her and him at the same time, or same and likewise, right? We became this network, but I did everything I could to make sure he had, the best, 4 years of his life.
Right, for sure. You mentioned about Chantel sharing her feelings on the internet, and obviously we had never met at that time or anything, and those were just so powerful. Was that was that something you guys decided to do, or like you said, you mentioned it to update friends and family, but I mean that the stuff that she was writing was just so raw and real, and and it it just, even like, again, we had never met, but that just, her writings taught me to appreciate the little things in life, and don't get upset, or everything in life, and don't get upset at the little things in life. And man, it was just so powerful, those writings. Like, again, I was in tears reading some of those. So.
Yeah, I agree. I was there and I experienced the same thing, but rereading what she wrote on those certain days was like, I refelt everything again. And it was, to her credit, she's an incredible writer of getting emotion from a thought to, onto paper.
Right.
And I think it literally just started from, this is what she felt that day.
Mhm.
And it was just an organic, transposition of my thought onto
Right.
this, document or
Well,
this word. And then,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I was just gonna say I think the whole community was, and not even just Windsor, like, so I don't know how far that
Yeah.
would reach, but
There
it was
was,
just
be
everyone was just
surprised.
kind
Yeah.
of gripped and hanging on to that and just,
Yeah.
waiting for the next one to come out. I don't even know if you guys, that was even the intention. Probably
No,
not the
no,
intention in the
absolutely
beginning,
not.
but how did that feel to garner all that support from that?
That was where our emotional support came from, right?
Mhm.
When everybody says, when things hit the fan, you really
Yeah.
know who's there for you. And
Right.
and that is an actual true cliche.
For sure.
It is. And then you do realize how many people step in or step back.
Right.
And people that you might thought would be there aren't there, or someone who's maybe surprised you that came
Mhm.
out of the woodwork and
No doubt.
was there for when it mattered the most. And that's what happened. And a lot of this support came from strangers that we
Mhm.
had never met before, or just connected and really wanted to support us. and
Mhm.
and I thank social media for that every day,
Mhm.
that they were there for us.
Right.
Yeah, back then, after when he did pass, and then continuing on
Yeah,
till today.
for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, you and Chantel, like, obviously most incredible, difficult thing you could imagine. Like, what
Mhm.
did you guys do, like, for each other outside that social media and all that other support? How did you two try to,
Right.
keep each other spirits up and
Yeah.
make it through this?
Yeah, still doing it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
no
to
doubt.
this
Yeah.
day. We knew that, he became our absolute focus. And in order to have Mason have the absolute best time that he had, we had to be the best team for him. He needed
Sure.
his parents uh, as strong as they possibly could, and
No doubt.
we just looked at each other and said, "That's what we're going to try our best to do." And it's okay that if it doesn't work out for people too when they experience tragedy, and that happens, and
Mhm.
that's not normal. But we just thought we would give it our best shot to keep staying strong for each other,
Right.
and do our absolute best to make sure Mason was taken care of, and we did. and
Yeah.
and we actually grew together through
Mhm.
this experience.
Mhm.
When we were only married, a couple of years. We've been dating for years, but
Right.
it was 2015 when Mason got diagnosed. So we were
Mhm.
only married like 2.5 years,
Right.
so really not long.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, we definitely grew through that.
So if you had to, I mean, it'd be impossible to narrow it down to just a sentence or two, but
Sure, yeah,
what
no,
advice would, if another couple's going through this,
right.
for them, just for the couple, like, what advice do you have to stay to be strong as a couple and try to work through this?
I tried to, almost put myself in, Mason's shoes about what my child was going through, and how important at the time would be just to show him the most love I can. And
Right.
for his experience, he would need to see his parents be there for him,
Sure.
and that's what it. And just give it your best shot.
Hmm.
And you don't know how strong you are until strong is your only option.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine, but like, again, whenever you get put in any situation, you gotta
You just
you
got to
don't have
see
a
what.
choice, especially when you
Yeah.
don't have a choice, right?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Hmm. Well, we'll shift the focus a little bit to the actual foundation.
Sure.
When in the timeline did you come up with the Fight Like Mason Foundation? Like, and start raising awareness
Right.
and on all that, and hosting events. And
Right. Well, the term "fight like Mason" started closer to the end, after he was palliative, when he was got really really sick and his options kind of ran out. And we never really ever thought of it to be some sort of charity or foundation or
Mhm.
some sort of thing that we would pledge to help. It
Right.
wasn't until just before he passed away that we made him a promise, and we said that we'd continue his fight
Mhm.
to help all the other kids that were just like him, until we no longer had to. And
Mhm.
that was our promise we made to Mason. And of course, our rule in our house is we don't break promises in the house. So
Mhm.
we stayed true to that promise.
Mhm.
And we had the shirts made up that said "Fight Like Mason" on the back. And then, you know, it was a no brainer after, when we thought, well, we're going to do this? Yes or no? It
Right.
was actually, believe it or not, quite soon after he passed, we
Mhm.
kind of shifted gears and really decided we were going to go full tilt on something to try to make a difference.
For sure.
But we had small ideas to start off. We
Mhm.
we only wanted to make a slight difference. One was donate to childhood cancer research. Was our first
Right.
goal, to make a donation.
Mhm.
And then Chantal came up with this idea of what we were known for, the IV poles, the Mason power
Mhm.
poles. And every single program that we introduced, or every thought, came from an organic need that we experienced as a family.
Mhm.
Why does this have to happen like this? Why does it suck to have this here right now? Why is this like this? So all these little pitfalls that we experienced as a family led to us developing a big band-aid for that
Right.
situation, right?
Yeah, those things are just such a great idea. I mean, I was in the hospital as a kid, even just for small things. It's
Right.
like I remember carrying that thing around, and it's
Sure.
just like it's anything to try to get that feeling of being
Sure.
in the hospital,
Yeah,
like out of a kid's
of
mind, even for a
course.
moment, is
Right.
is amazing.
So for someone using it once to someone being attached to it 24/7
Right.
is a different thing. So
So you have the power poles, and I also know I saw the super wheels.
yeah. So we've done quite a bit. Yeah. So we have the power poles, which are now we have 341 customized, stretching from here all the way to Muskoka and Peterborough
Wow.
hospitals. We have super wheels that we donated. We customized wheelchairs also that we donated
Mhm.
to Windsor Regional Hospital that had no wheelchairs at all for kids.
Oh
They had
wow.
these big, you know,
Yeah.
huge ones that the
Full
kids would roll
size.
out in. And,
Yeah.
we made them fun and we put some cool decals on them and awesome fun colors on them as usual.
Hmm.
And yeah, and like I said, we did the programs from every need, our Mason Super Soldiers, which is what I'm obviously quite fond of. And one of I'm
Hmm.
super passionate about was just from a need of the hospitals can be draining and boring and sterile, and there's not a lot of life going through them. With there's certain things here and there that you experience, but um, having a superhero come to visit you in the hospital was a pretty cool experience,
No doubt.
I thought, right? So, and having, a top-notch suit and having the magic as real as possible of the child thinking that, man, that's really Batman.
Right.
How cool is that?
Right.
Right? Having that magic real is powerful to a kid,
Hmm.
and that uplifting spirit can carry through
For sure.
days and weeks and months or forever. And
No doubt.
to have that superhero kind of convey some message of encouragement, using those similar analogies that I did with Mason, I
Hmm.
translate that to, Batman talking to a child or Spider-Man talking to a
Hmm.
child about what they're going through. Because who
Yeah.
better to know than someone who's been through it?
Right.
And if I can do that in a fun, positive, empowering way, why
It's awesome. It's
not?
just it's amazing how all this just dominoed into so many things, like with the from your analogy of using the
Right. Yeah.
superhero to, and to Mason, telling him about that, and now these things that you're doing with the characters,
Yeah.
and all these things, just that's absolutely unreal. Like, it's unreal, and just it's so great for everybody, not just our community, but as far as you
Oh,
guys can reach. But yeah, I know. Well, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
yeah. We're coming up on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you guys have a program or two coming up for that.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
Yeah. So obviously, we have a Go Gold initiative, is what we call it, and
Hmm.
gold is the color of childhood cancer, and it's meant to represent that our children are more precious than gold.
Hmm.
And with that, we usually paint our town gold in Bell River, where we're from. We have bows that line the streets. We have some
Hmm.
banners. We hang some posters up in the local businesses that have a childhood cancer statistic on it. They're obviously gold. Certain Bell River community businesses also hold small fundraisers. We
Hmm.
usually go into the schools and do some education to some of the
Right.
kids and talk about it. So we have all that going on. We usually kick it off with our "This Is Me" photo shoot,
Okay.
which we usually showcase after in this awesome calendar here. But we have kids tell us exactly what they inspire to be
Hmm.
beyond being diagnosed with childhood cancer, and we hold an awesome photo shoot to let them be that
That's
character
great.
or
That's great.
inspiration that they want to be. So we do that just before September kicks off. Last year we did it at the beginning. This we're doing it on
Hmm.
August 30th, and we have 10 awesome kids that we're letting them showcase what they want to be, let the world know what they are.
So, well, that'll be next year's
That this
calendar.
they're coming up.
Oh, this
Yeah,
calendar.
for next year's calendar.
Gotcha.
That we usually start selling in November, December.
Mhm.
But yeah, the photo shoot's coming up pretty soon. So that's our
Awesome.
first thing we kick it off. And
Mhm.
we're going to do that. We have the Go Gold initiative. And then we're launching our very first fundraiser that we're going to be doing called Gold Hair Dudes Care, which is kind of cool. So we're kind of taking the spin on the classic shave the head.
Okay.
And we're asking any dudes out there that are willing to go gold up top.
Like a full dye job here?
I'm not. Well,
Or are we just talking
there's a
the
couple
fake hairspray?
there's
or
a
what are we
couple
doing here?
options.
All right, okay.
There's the full commitment.
Okay.
If someone's really wanting to fundraise and hit that high fundraising mark, they'll do the full bleach. But there is a $500 raise that you can do the spray.
Nice.
So we're hosting that on September 20th. So all the information is going to be out pretty soon on how to apply and whatnot. And it's a challenge to all the dads and fathers out there, or just the dudes that want to show that they can support our childhood cancer initiative of raising money for some research in September. Awesome. So
yeah, it's hard to come up with fresh ideas. Like obviously we're in the nonprofit
of course,
fundraising thing as well, and it's just you want to try to do something different, but that's cool. I've never heard of that one before.
So you can blame Chantel for every single idea that we come up with, and it's all her fault. So
well, she's pretty creative, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
So I guess we'll bring COVID back into the conversation then, because I know for us it's everything's online or pretty much especially with groups that have to do we put on family events,
of course,
family events, and how do we do that?
Way to make it difficult for us.
Right. Yeah. And even when things, come back to somewhat normal, like it's still, we're the last segment of
100%.
Nobody's going to be bringing, 500 kids in one place anytime soon.
Right.
So we're exploring avenues online and stuff like that. But what have you guys or had to do or try to adapt to in this situation?
It's definitely, obviously fundraising wise is difficult. Any of the events, we obviously see each other at events all the time out in public, and obviously the vendor kind of events don't really exist right now, and that's really tough. But most of our programs run regardless of what's going on. We have a Help Yourself cabinet at the Ronald McDonald houses in Windsor and London that we stuff every month. Obviously the polls still continue. The research donations try their best to continue during this time, but we kind of tweak certain things. Obviously I can't just go walk into the hospital as Deadpool and say, hey, what's going on, guys, let me go see some kids. It's not the way it works. But so we kind of took,
even with the mask,
I think it's still frowned upon.
Okay, all right.
But we kind of got creative with that. I sent quite a few kids some messages, some video recorded messages of encouragement.
You guys are reading stories as well.
So the other thing that came up with that was like, well, how do we kind of reach some people too and give them something to do and something to watch? And we did a story time with the Super Soldier.
I watched that.
Yeah, so
my daughter and I watched
it. Oh, come on, you watched it. Yeah,
you got me.
But so we got creative. We did a bunch of those, and I've done some drive-by birthdays for a couple kids, and just to kind of continue to let them know that we're still got their back and we're still fighting with them, and we're here to help them. So.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, we missed our Father's Day event, our annual Father's Day event, but that's a 3,500 plus 4,000 person event. So that, who knows?
It's not allowed right now.
Yeah, who knows when that's going on?
Yeah.
I guess maybe just to kind of not wrap it up, but get close to the end here. Like, what is your ultimate goal with the Fight Like Mason Foundation? And I'm sure I know the answer, but
it's a great question. Ultimately, our tagline is defeating the villain for good, and that's our mission. As we really want to get closer and closer to offering actual changes to the treatment plans for kids. Whether that's a new drug, whether that's new protocols, whether that's better options for every kid that gets diagnosed. And we making monumental steps every year, but in terms of just that facet, actually changing how a child is treated, treating the disease better than we did before. To date, we've donated over $300,000 to our childhood cancer research programs, partnered with Terry Fox Research Institute this year for a program called Profile, which is incredible. It's now offered to every single child in London that goes for treatment that needs to be enrolled in that program.
Wow.
But no, we wanted to really change the face of how taking something taboo like childhood cancer, something that you don't want to see, something that everybody hates to see the commercial on TV, And because it's sad and it's awful, but we wanted to kind of put a fresh look on giving these kids an opportunity to feel strong and empowered through their diagnosis, and to know that, when they see that M wherever they go, whether it's a pole, whether it's a wheelchair, whether it's superhero that's coming to visit you, or the chance to be in a calendar, to know that, just like Batman's logo in the sky at Gotham City is the analogy I give all the time, was that it gave hope to the city of Gotham to think that Batman's here to protect us, even though the city is awful, even though it's ridden with crime. As soon as that bat signal went out in the sky, they felt safer because of it. And we hope that this M can echo that same feeling, that, a family can see that M somewhere, to see that someone is behind us and does support us and wants to make a change. And because from us feeling, like I said, we didn't have anybody, we were the only ones going through it, know that there is a charity or someone out there that is looking out for all those families.
Guarantee that M is doing that
we hope
that
so.
job, that's for sure. And in such a short time too. Like you mentioned number, that figure, $300,000 is unreal.
That's just for the research. We've hit the $1 million raised.
Wow.
And he passed in 2016. We've been a charity for just over 3 years now. Thanks to you, thanks to the amazing community that believed in every mission and every avenue that we wanted to try to explore to make a difference in. And I'm shocked at how much we've been able to do.
So you and Chantel have since had 2 children.
Yes.
Miller and Piper. Congratulations.
Add to the chaos
Congratulations
a little bit.
to you both on that.
Thank you.
Again, I'm, a few more tough questions for you here, but
sure.
was that a difficult decision to make, to decide to have more children?
Yeah, it really was. And it is something that parents just like us, that if they do lose a child, they do struggle with if they are going to have more kids. We did tell Mason before he did want brothers or sister. So that's kind of what we continued on, that promise of, we were going to give him a brother or a sister. And then Miller was born just almost a year after he passed, in June. So he actually brought Chantel and I into like a really good spot too, because we, June's a really hard month for us. And him being born there gave us something really like strong to latch on to, and Miller coming in really brightened our world from what we had, for sure.
How do you keep Mason's memory alive with them? Obviously they didn't get the chance to, but
that's something we always kind of, thought of. How are we gonna, Miller's 3 now, so he just turned 3 in June, and he's coming to the age where he knows his brother, but his brother's a picture, or his brother's the stuffed animal, or his brother's on dad's arm, or his brother's a superhero. And being able to try to convey this story about their brother to him was tough. It's tough to kind of talk about, but but right now his brother's a superhero. His brother's just as cool as any of the others that are on his list. So that was really special, and they really recognize that. And one of the biggest things that people that lose a child or lose anyone go through is that the ability to say the person's name is really important. Some people think you don't want to talk about them, or you don't want to talk about their whatever happened to them, something, but saying their name is one of the most important things you can do to someone who's lost someone, especially a child. Is to keep them.
That's good here to know, because I mean, I've been trying to prepare these
questions. I'm sure.
I know I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to call you. I wanted to do, and I went through these so many times, and I was just like, like I say, my eyes were watering just writing some of these questions. But obviously, I thank you for your willingness and openness to talk about that. And that's a good thing, what you just said, for people to know. Like, you want to hear,
they want to hear the name said in conversation.
Sure. How do you think, having gone through all this, has it changed you as a father? Like, do you notice you do anything kind of different now, or anything like that?
All the silliness is the same. That doesn't change throughout at least for me personally. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, having a child who was sick and had something, even any kid who has chronic illness, or especially cancer, you worry, right? At the first symptom that comes up, Miller has this stuffy nose, or a cough, or he trips on something, you get a first thing in your mind that
Mhm.
says, that worry kicks in,
Right.
that guilt kicks in. But it's definitely a hard one. Yeah, I don't feel like I try to parent any different. You
Yeah.
try to parent your kids all the same. They all turn out different.
Yeah, no doubt.
That doesn't
No
change.
doubt.
But
Even twins.
even twins, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I try to be even more patient. Because we know how quick life can change,
Mhm.
and we do our absolute best to enjoy every single moment with our kids. I'm not upset that I'm spending more time with them as a family right now
Right.
instead of out at events and canvassing and doing everything. It's not upsetting.
I
Uh,
couldn't agree more, to be honest. I consider it, I've been calling it bonus time.
Yeah,
And that's
100%.
exactly what it is to me right now.
Right. And but I think it definitely, it changes you, of course.
Yeah.
It changes every part of your fabric.
Mhm.
Because grief is not a fun thing to deal with, but I still do my absolute best to make sure,
Mhm.
Miller and Piper know that they got as
Nice.
rock star of a dad as they possibly can be.
Well, it's cemented. It's cemented now. You're an official father of the month
Yeah, that's
award
true.
winner,
That's true.
so
Yeah.
you can get that tattoo.
Yeah, I
if you
said
want.
that right underneath. Yeah.
We'll do a fundraiser for that. We'll raise
Thanks,
some money
yeah.
to get your tattoo. So did you have a role model did you pattern your parenting after anyone in particular?
Yeah, I definitely had my dad as my role model.
Mhm.
My dad was my hero. He was, again, I have lots of I'm a huge superhero fan, but
Mhm.
ultimately, before my son was, born and whatnot, my dad was my hero.
Nice.
He was everything I thought a man, a person, and a father should be. And I tried my absolute best to emulate, everything how he handled every situation.
That's great.
And that I feel like that echoed into as
Mhm.
much as a parenting as
Yeah.
I needed to be.
Well, one of the things that we do with fantastic fathers is the statistics are overwhelmingly positive when a kid has an involved father in their
Right.
lives. And people know us as putting on the fun family
Sure,
events and
yeah.
stuff like that, and obviously we want to do that, but this was supposed to be our year where we wanted to let people know the why, the meat and potatoes
Sure.
of why we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because you had such a positive influence growing up, stuff like you're talking 80, 75, 85, 90% of social pitfalls that children can end up into as an adult. The statistics are real. The studies
Right.
are out
Yeah.
there. Like
Mhm.
those, child growing up, becoming a high school dropout, teenage pregnancy, poverty, drug
Mhm.
addiction, all that stuff. Like those numbers with an involved father, it's almost like winning the lottery. Like
It's
you're
crazy.
talking like 85% less chance of some of those things happening. So that's why we're doing one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing, and we're really going to try and get those numbers and those things out in the
Right.
public. So I think
I think it's
you
important to
would
see.
agree with
Yeah,
that. With
I think it's important to see, and
yeah, for sure.
I knew very quickly.
Mm,
Maybe I grew up too fast, but I knew very quickly from the moment I met Chantel to the time we got engaged to the time I found out I was going to be a father.
mhm,
I didn't have to look far to know how to be a father.
right.
I already knew because I already experienced it, and I'll always owe my dad that
Awesome.
forever. So
That's great.
yeah,
Uh, one of my questions one of the first things I thought to ask was how do you, I guess because again we have a nonprofit whatever,
sure.
but how do you balance this family time, work life, charity work, and all that
Yeah.
stuff? It's because and I've said this to a lot of people, unless you have a charity or a nonprofit, you do not like everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
that must be fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Yeah.
not the
It's
first word.
great.
It's not the first word I would say, but
Yeah,
it's so
fun's
busy. It's just
yeah.
like running a
It's
business.
running
It's it is what it is.
It is absolutely no different.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that you don't do it in the intent
Right.
to make a
Right.
profit. But
Right.
you have to think about everything. And
Mhm.
I honestly think in certain aspects it is a little bit more difficult
Mhm.
to run it. Not that I run a business, but just
Yeah.
in my experience running the charity, it's you don't have one product or one
Right.
client market. You have to look at everyone.
Right.
Right. You want to service as much as you can. You want to provide an essential service that
Mhm.
isn't already offered.
Right.
And then how do you create that and garner support and the whole thing?
Mhm.
And don't do a lot of sleeping. You do some. You
Yeah.
find a way to make it in
Right.
between, but
Just run on naps.
having a couple full-time jobs is very
Right.
difficult.
Yeah.
And Chantel works too, and she's a hairstylist, and we got 2 kids under 3, 3 and
Right.
under, and
No
it's
doubt.
definitely difficult. But
Yeah.
it always takes me back, and the reason that Chantel and I are so headstrong with this, and we're gonna do everything we can to make sure this charity does as well as it can, is because we always knew that there was no fight like Mason for Mason.
Right.
We didn't have the visits. We didn't have
Yeah.
these kind of programs. There was
Right.
no support system like what we can offer
Right.
to a family, and that's what keeps us going,
No
because
doubt.
he never had any of those. And yeah, so how we get it done, I don't really have an answer for. It just somehow
it
gets
happens.
done.
It happens. Well, it's passion and
Passion and a lot of hard work.
for
Yeah.
sure. And obviously you've got the why.
Yeah, we got
So,
the Y is sealed.
No
Yeah.
What's the most important thing you've learned by becoming a father?
Wow. My most, I guess, on the tip of it, I guess, is that I've never seen, well, I guess when it comes to Mason, you've never seen, a kid fight so hard uh, than he did. But finding out your role in the world, it comes, at least my personal opinion, for me, came from having kids and
Mhm.
watching them grow up, and watching and waiting for them, to one day leave their mark on the world as well, in a positive way. And again, I always tell people too, watching kids grow up and seeing their mark they leave is one of the best things you can see as a parent, right? And to know that you've done what you can to raise a child. And we don't get to see Mason grow anymore, but we do get to see that. I can see how his impact and his mark is being left,
For sure.
and that's incredible. That's an incredible feeling as a father.
Yeah, I was like, I finally found something I'm good at.
Yeah, there you go. Nailed it.
I love being a dad.
Yeah.
And I feel like I try my best every day to be good at it. So
Of course.
that's, we're almost done here. We're gonna wrap things up soon. What do you hope for most for Miller and Piper in their future?
I hope very much that they obviously live very happy, healthy lives. The safety and health of our kids is any parent's most important thing. But obviously for us, we have a little bit more heightened on that front. But no, I hope that they do their absolute best to keep. I'm sure they're going to keep their brother in their life as much as possible, and they do whatever they believe makes them truly happy. And I want them to, of course, Miller can fit into a spandex suit in any time soon, so I hope he joins me one day. But
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of mini use.
Yes, that might happen on occasion. Yeah. But no, I hope I can instill all of the best qualities that I feel as a parent into them, and hopefully they can take that as it is.
Okay. This is the question I wrap up pretty much almost everything we do with our Father of the Month winner, as if this interview wasn't emotional enough. But this is the kind of
Sure.
Here's a chance for kind of turn to the camera and let's pretend 20 years down the road from now, Miller and Piper stumble across this
little video.
and just let them send them a message and just let them know what you would like for them to know.
Holy smokes. No pressure, right?
No pressure.
Geez. This is the one I wish I rehearsed.
That's why I don't tell people.
You just want it organic, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Guys, Miller, Piper, I truly hope that if you do watch this 20-something years from now, that you guys are exactly who you want to be. Please, deep down, I always want you to be exactly who you are. Be true to yourselves, and please don't take everything I say seriously. I'm sure your lives are filled with fun, hope, and I hope that you have a passion for yourselves and a love for yourselves, because that is one of the most important things that you can have moving forward.
Well said. Excellent. Okay, let's get on with let's brighten this up a little.
Gifting
if
ceremonies.
we can. We've got our package here that we have for our Father of the Month. Thank you, of course, to Liuna 625 for all their support. We'd be nowhere without them. You guys are the best. So here we go. I'm gonna hand this to you, and if you want to go through that, you can. There's a few things there, and just kind of our little ceremonial plaque that we have. We got a gift card from Macro Foods.
Oh my gosh.
$50 gift card from Macro Foods.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
A little plaque for the wall.
Oh my God. I wish you probably can't zoom, but let's picture me holding my last child, Piper. That's beautiful.
Last one for sure.
100% last one.
All right.
100% last one.
I know what that means.
Yeah. Right. Last one. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Wow. That's gorgeous. Macro Foods.
Yep.
I'm into the health and fitness, so that's
you're a superhero.
Cool.
You gotta
superheroes
be able to fit in those costumes.
Spandex
they got the new keto menu plan out now, so I'm gonna be taking advantage of that soon myself.
Spandex is not forgiving for anyone who's interested. It's not forgiving. So, wow, thank you so much.
Cards and stickers.
Yeah, absolutely. Holy smokes, dude! Thank you so much.
No problem. We're honored to. We wanted to obviously donate to the Fight Like Mason Foundation, so we're happy to do that. We come up with our own little. I don't know if you want to show the little face mask there. We've got our own little face masks available. If anyone's would like to have their very own fantastic father's face mask.
Very good.
To be honest, I hope we don't have to wear them much longer.
Well, that's the ultimate goal, right?
But they're out there. If anybody's interested in those, just let us know.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And then the last thing, there's just we got our t-shirts and stuff in here for you, but we have our own little superhero logo.
Very cool. Very nice. I do like it.
So that's our fantastic fathers, just like our chest piece, if you will. So,
absolutely.
So I threw some of those in there, and our father, we like to brag as dads, so we put I have a fantastic father.
Very nice. Awesome.
So we threw some shirts in there.
Perfect.
For you. I hope you enjoy that. So
no problem.
We really appreciate you being here. This was wow. We learned a lot. We felt a lot. So happy you're willing to do this. Wish you all the best, you and Chantel and the kids in the future.
No, thank you so much.
Again, thanks, and we'll see you at some of the fundraisers.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see each other.
Possible.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure I'll be probably sweating. Well, I'm looking forward to sweating something off in a suit one day back in an event. So.
Well, you guys are, the superhero thing. You yourself, Chantel, Mason, even Piper Miller. You're all superheroes in our eyes, and obviously appreciate what you do. And thanks again.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So we're going to end this interview now. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. Please share this interview. There's obviously parents out there who have been through tragedy or are going through something right now. So I think everyone should see this and see all the positivity that can come from this and what they've done with the Fight Like Mason Foundation. So please share this. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to our next episode coming up soon. And like I said, getting back out in the public and doing what we do. Keep following our page. We do have some online Zoom stuff coming up. We're going to do another kids bingo. And last but not least, check out our sponsors. Again, they're shown at the beginning and end of every video. These guys care about the community. They give back. So if you're in need of any of their products or services, please check them out and give them a shout. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Have a great day.